Thank you, David. Thank you all for braving the elements, as he noted. It takes tough people to deal with the wintry mix that is so unique to New York. I'm Claire Kramer-Mills from the bank's community development team, and I like to call our community development team sort of the best kept secret at the New York Fed. We're located so close to Wall Street, and yet few people know about the exciting work that we do in connecting evidence, folks who are innovators, and folks who are amplifiers, as I like to call them. And I'll take each one of those in turn. Here at the New York Fed and the Federal Reserve System, we have really the privilege of working with data and evidence that are not really easily accessible to many in our country. And we take that responsibility very, very seriously. We call it the very best. We're exacting with our analysis, but we really want ultimately to connect that analysis with decision makers at the community level. And so that's one of the key functions of today, is to show you very exciting work on the evidentiary level. But we're also, and this makes us unique and a little bit distinct from pure researchers, we're also instigators in our own way. We are not satisfied with just depositing a nice research present and leaving it under the tree, if you will. We really want to connect it to people, and we want folks who are innovators, who are thinking about solutions, possible solutions that might work in different places, to take that evidence and test it out. And then, having evaluated what works and what doesn't work, we want to connect it also to folks who are amplifiers, who can take those good ideas, those good practices, and good partnerships, and get them to scale. Our gathering in this room, in this very beautiful room, happens at a time of stark contrasts. The macroeconomy is booming, unemployment is low, stock market is also looking pretty strong. And yet, for many American families, insecurity and a sense of falling behind prevail. The stresses are acute, and they are far, far too common. The challenges can seem overwhelming, and yet we really believe that these three powerful forces that I just described can affect change and broaden access to economic opportunity. We've gathered folks from the evidence community, we've gathered innovators, and we've gathered amplifiers here. And today, we have an all-star crew of these folks, and we're very, very excited about what you're about to hear and what we're about to discuss together. So we've got three goals. One, use the best available data to understand trends in financial well-being. Two, highlight promising practices, programs, and partnerships aimed at increasing financial opportunity and security. And then three, consider how to take those practices to scale. So if we're successful today, I want each one of you, and this is my charge to you, to take just one action item, one person you want to connect with, one idea that you want to test at your organization, one data point that you're going to run with. And I'm coming back at the end of the program, so I won't call people out, but I will be looking at you. Okay, so we're going to begin with evidence from the New York Fed, drawn from Equifax. So you're familiar probably with Equifax, one of the major credit bureaus. We are privileged to have a 5% representative sample of US households' credit records. And we get quarterly feeds of this, and they date back to the early 2000s to the present. And so think about it as high velocity, pretty clean data. It's exciting. It provides detailed information about credit holdings and outcomes, including payment histories over time. So why examine credit holdings at the community level? And Kausar in her presentation will describe specifically what we mean by the community level. But we really believe that the prevalence of access to credit at choice among residents is a lens to understand a community's financial health and resiliency. And access to credit at choice is an asset for individuals to build wealth, to weather financial storms, and to access economic opportunity. So we think that this is a pretty interesting asset, an interesting way to understand where communities are today, 10 years into an economic recovery. And not to steal anyone's thunder, but you will see a lot of variation. So why credit data, and why are we so excited about this specifically? I think David alluded to it, but I'm just going to underscore it. It's timely information. It covers small communities that may otherwise be missed, and I think in this room, really understand that. Being able to go down to the zip code level, to cover parts of the middle section of America, rural communities that are often overlooked, I think is quite important, and we take that very seriously. So we're really excited about the information and the coverage that we have with this data. It also enables apples to apples comparisons across place and time, and I think that's really, really critical. So with all that said, I'm big cheerleader for the credit data. I would be remiss if I did not say that the data do not cover the prevalence and use of costly alternative financial services. And we know that in America, 10 years into a recovery, that many people and many communities have seen community banks close. They have seen many alternative financial services and costly alternative financial service providers pop up and grow in density. So that very much will be part of the broader discussion. We are very lucky to have Senior Mary McKernan from the Urban Institute and Jacob Faber from NYU, who are national experts on this topic. So I'm very excited about their panel and how we will take a broader set and broader lens of data into consideration. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Kauser to come up